Thank you to the Chaver community for inviting me to share reflections on navigating by the light of Torah. First, I'll start with a melody to bring us together in our neshamot, in our souls. My dear friends, welcome to this sharing. We'll spend a few minutes together to contemplate ways where we can look at our traditions, look to Torah, to bring us into an uplifted emotional state. First, a little bit about me. Some of you might know me, some not. My name is Rosalie Osian. My Hebrew name is Razel, the daughter of Elia and Fredel. And I, along with my husband, are new transplants here to Boulder, Colorado. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and lived there and in Manhattan all of my life until the past year and 2 months. And I'm a chaplain with 20 years experience in hospice and palliative care, mainly working in the community in Brooklyn, the Russian Jewish community, the Hasidic community, and also serving people of all faiths. And in the service of chaplaincy, the skill set is very broad, but there is an emphasis, and the major emphasis is on listening to foster guidance, of being a sacred witness first to the many layers of the human experience, the strengths, the weaknesses, the joys, the hopes, and all that flows in between. Each person is considered the living human document of life's narrative, and chaplains have the Torah to use as a guide for people, the Eitz Chaim, the tree of life, to guide people in their narrative. And the witnessing of people's stories and their lives is a tremendous teaching, and it builds on our experiences. It builds on the way that we could help others each and every day as we continue to listen to the experiences of people, their life's path shared with us, and also how people are finding ways to cope and gathering on the themes of each individual's coping mechanisms. We are here in a very unique situation because today you are my sacred witnesses as I share a little bit, just a little bit, about me with you. First, we'll start with a poem that I find quite meaningful. It is by Marsha Glaub-Ben-Hain from Twice Chai, A Jewish Road to Recovery. We are a life-oriented faith, unfolding and reaffirming at every turn, kindling the Sabbath candles, lighting the menorah, memorializing our loved ones, and separating the holy from the mundane, from the profane, the sacred, all with life-giving light. We do not live in shadows. We don't hide in darkness. We embrace the tiniest spark and we cultivate it until it bursts into flame. So the beginnings of my story formed who I am now. That's where my sacred witnessing began a long time ago. My early years, they were filled with very powerful and impressionable events. My parents were imbued with a steadfast commitment to Jewish life under very dire beginnings and very dire continued circumstances. I had a pretty intense Jewish education. Home was just not an intellectual pursuit of Jewish life or law. It was a process of learning by doing. And my parents imbued in me some valuable, impressionable traditions, especially being able to connect deeply to the Jewish calendar in all its aspects. The Jewish calendar was a rich sensory feast of preparation and planning foods, songs, and synagogue life. Alongside living a life of yeshiva, of Yiddishkeit, there was a biblical narrative, very strong, and the personal tragic narrative of the Shoah and my parents' survival from it. And at times, those Torah stories were interwoven into our own stories. There were songs that related to this, and one of them, a particular song that I learned in my childhood, was about the matriarch Rachel. She was the wife of Jacob, and she died on the way from one place to another. Her family was traveling, and she had to be buried on the way. Her tomb is in Bethlehem, in Beit Lechem. And this is the translation of the song which I'll share with you in Yiddish. Mother Rachel, on the way there is a tomb, and there lies Mother Rachel, a stone on the way. Miteruchu, auf und weg liegt der Stein, in dort liegt die Miteruchu, auf und weg liegt der Stein, Miteruchu, auf und weg liegt der Stein, und dort liegt die Miteruchu, auf und weg liegt der Stein. But the impetus for this song wasn't just its words. It was the passion expressed by my mother in her voice when she sang the song. Rachel was not a distant biblical figure. Rachel, for us, represented every person who could not finish what they set out to accomplish. Every person who left their family too soon, too unexpected. Israelites wandering in the desert wasn't some faraway story. My parents were wanderers. They were homeless. And what does this time in the calendar mean to me? Well, we're in the midst of counting the days from Passover to Shavuot. We're counting up to Sinai. Counting is familiar to me. My parents were counted from imprisonment to liberation. They were counted and they were assigned numbers every single day of their imprisonment. And I feel the anticipation building these days, building to Zaman Matan Torah, the time of receiving the Torah. We're instructed during these 7 weeks to contract our joy, refrain from making weddings, not cutting our hair. We bless the days of the Omer and we have some celebratory breaks in between, such as Lag BaOmer, Pesach Sheni, and Rosh Chodesh. And especially we feel these days the sensitivity of counting. We're in the time of COVID-19. We're counting our days in isolation, counting the days of when we could go out, when we could walk around without a mask. We're counting the days of the people who are afflicted. We're counting our losses. So we have an added anticipation these days before Shavuot. Matan Torah, the receiving of Torah. It is a beacon of hope coming to us in the next few days. And then a story of my father. He shared a recollection from when he came into New York City in 1948. He shared with me, there were so many lights, Rosalie. There were so many lights. I never imagined it to be so bright. And in his eyes, as he was telling this story decades later, I could see the light in his eyes. In America, that's where he and his family would be able to practice freely the Torah that was given at Sinai. He would be able to fulfill the mitzvot, raising his family without fear. It was his Sinai moment, this coming to America. And with that in mind, I'd like to share with you this melody that I learned from my parents. In It is called Arum Dem Fire, Around the Fire, and it was sung, it was popular in Poland in the 1930s, and also here in America. And I'd like to tell you what the translation is before I sing the song for you. Around the bonfire we sing songs. The night is lovely and we are not tired. And when the fire goes out, the sky shines with its stars. So crown your heads with flowers and joyfully dance around the fire. For dancing and singing is our life, and in our sleep we spin our dreams. So let me share that with you. And that was the melody that I started this session with. Arum den Feier, wir singen Lieder, die Nacht ist tired, man wird nicht müde, und soll der Feier verloschen werden, scheint auf der Himmel mit seinen Sternen. Du kreuzt die Kerb mit Blumenkranzen, herum den Feier mit freilich tanzen. Weil tanzt du nicht, ist unser Leben, dennoch in Schlaf alleine schweben. So klein die Kerb mit Blumenkranzen, herum den Feier mit freilich tanzen. Weil Tanz und Lied ist unser Leben, dennoch in Schlaf alleine schweben. From Torah and rabbis and teachers, past and present, from all the stories that we have entered, that I have entered in my path, all the stories that I have heard, all the learnings that I have gleaned from. What is my guide? What is my guide each and every day when I'm working in hospital, here at home, listening to friends, hearing the news, looking at the past, present, and seeing a way to the future? This is my learning from Abraham, the patriarch. And this is from, I believe, one of the teachings from Larry Hoffman. I am circumcised. When 3 men visited with me, I learned that sometimes all we can give an afflicted person is the gift of our caring presence. Thus, we are walking the path of the divine. That is from our patriarch, Abraham. And from Moses, what can we learn? When the people ask your identity, what shall I say? He asks God. And God says, well, I'm confused. I'm confused. Eheye asher eheye. It's that simple. What? Says Moses. What does that mean? Now, what's in a name? God says. Let's not complicate things. I am that I am. I am who I am. I will be what I will be. Let us keep it open. It is a shared experience. God's presence and humanity's presence joined together. I am that I am. I am who I am. I will be what I will be. And then from the High Holiday Liturgy, the still small voice. The great shofar sounds. We respond first with a trembling silence. The angels are also afraid. And then we speak with a still small voice. Kol demama daka. A still small voice, opening our hearts, sharing the whimpers, the whispers. And then God's promise to Noah after the flood. See the bow in the sky? That bow will be a sign of the promise I made to Noah, never to destroy the earth. The rainbow shape is an inverted weapon. Its shades and colors joined together asks for peace among the nations, and no matter how hard it rains, the sun will come out again. Say a blessing. when you see a rainbow. And one more to share with you, Professor Arnold Eisen from the Jewish Theological Seminary. He comments on how he wants rabbis to be. I want men and women so knowledgeable about their tradition, so immersed in and permeated with Jewish learning and Jewish practice that they can transmit that learning, keep it relevant, and dress the Torah in new interpretations that keep it alive in new conditions. Broken bodies are not impediments. Broken spirits are. Broken bodies are not impediments. Broken spirits are. And then a sharing of a close personal friend, Ms. Jean Bass. Her poem called Too Light. If believing is seeing, then I can see the light in my mind. I can close my eyes in the darkest dark and still know there's a light that burns within, illuminating dark corners with a resplendent radiancy. I can feel summer and winter in that one shaft of solstice day sun that shimmers briefly before setting in the darkest night of nights. Anything can be a state of mind, darkness transformed by the light of my own energy into tangible luminescence. During the longest day of darkness, I come back to the breath of hopeful light and look towards its pathways for guidance. My friends, my dear friends, let's imagine we are at Sinai. We're counting up to Sinai. It's coming. It's going to be here. Shavuot is coming. And we're the bearers of this tradition. We bring to the table everything that we are. The bad, the good, the sorrow, the joys, the hope. We bring it all together as though we were standing at Sinai generations and generations ago, all our souls, all our spirits in one. And we pray, may the Torah continue to light our way. May the Torah stories continue to inspire us, infuse us, bring us the hope that we long for. And may we merit in our days to continue to weave the fabric of a Jewish life in mind, in body, and in neshama, in soul. I wish you a Chag Sameach. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. Laila Tov.